Hello, hello, welcome back. 2 days in a row. I made it. I've come today to do the ephemera. I'm not sure how much I'll actually get done. I've got my funky gloves on. They've got them my funky gloves, but I've got the glass mat out, and I know many of you don't like the bangle noise. So what I want to do is I'm going to start with the tag for the centre, because I think that's going to probably take up a little bit of time. I've cut a little, it's just a piece of cardstock, and it is 21 centimetres by 7.5 centimetres. And I'm just going to grab my trusty tool. Lose my hair. And I'm going to create my tag shape using that. Okay, so that's my tag. That's the start of the tag. Now, I have got 2 of the tags that come from Andrea's kit, which I want to use, and I also have my box. This is my new organised my organised box of papers and scraps and bits and pieces. So I'm going to use some of those, and straight away I've found something that I want to use. Now I'm going to have to keep this fairly flat because the trifold is already getting quite bulky, so I need to kind of be a little bit careful of how much space I take up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this piece, and I think I'm going to have a piece of that along the bottom. So let's grab, I'm going to just tear the bottom of that off because that could be used for something else. Okay, now I'm going to cut along that row of numbers, and again I still haven't cleaned my scissors, but they don't actually seem too bad. I've used them a couple of times this morning. I've got out my glass board because it does get a bit messy. I'm going to give that a bit of a glue stick. Oh, whoops. We've all done that, haven't we? There was something I needed to say. What was it? Oh, yeah. I found, apparently it is a glitch, but my when I was on YouTube this morning just checking, replying to some of the comments and things from yesterday's video, I found I had 568 comments waiting to be approved, and I'm 99% sure they weren't there yesterday. So I have started to work through them, but I did some research to try and find out why it's happened, and apparently it's happening quite frequently to all sorts of people and all sorts of videos. So I'm not quite sure why. I'm working through reinstalling them, but there's still several to go. Oh, it's just like such a huge job. I'll get there. So I apologise to anybody who may have made a comment and I haven't replied. Now this piece is going to show, so I'm going to just cut that around there. So I will start to ink these. And it was nice to hear from some of you yesterday that said it was good to speed up some of it, but not all of it. So I'll continue to do that, I think. So that's a good start. That's a good start. The only thing I forgot to print was I did a freebie, did some inspirational words in my Facebook group, and I printed them onto a page as a freebie, and I was going to use some of those in this, and I forgot to print them. I'm not keen on that. I really like Andrea's. I really like Andrea's bits and pieces. Let's see. I've got these butterfly stamps. I'm going to tear that, I think. This is from Andrea's kit. I've done a terrible job. Terrible job. There's some blue and some not so blue. Right, let's think. I've got out all of my boxes. This is my Tim Holtz box. Let's see what I've got in here. That's green, that's a shame, that's quite nice. Okay. Maybe we should have, so that's a butterfly, that's quite big. That's a bit of a smaller one. I really love that though. I know it's not a butterfly and it's not blue. It's blue. Sometimes too much choice is not a good thing. Aha. Right, let's get that out of the way. I think maybe 2 butterflies on there. Although I really like that. Yeah, I really like that. I think I'm going to go for that and a butterfly. And got to have a label. Got to have a label. Yeah, like that. Liking that. I just have to have a little think about whether I should sew first. I think I'm going to just sew around this. I've just done a kind of messy double row of stitching around there. I've inked the pieces. I have realised I've just inked the wrong butterfly, but that's fine. It's still going to work. So I'm going to glue this down first. Now, although the tag needs to be quite flat, I do want something sticking out of the top to stick out of that gap, because that's not going to cause any problems with closing the trifold. Let's pop that there. I think this is one of my favourite labels, this little one. And these are obviously quite heavy because they're a cardstock, these particular Tim Holtz ephemera. Some of them are paper, more paper based, and some of them are thicker, these die cuts, and these are some of the thicker ones. I'll pop that there, and I'm gonna just glue the back of this. And I'm gonna have the wing just peeking over that stitch. Okay, that's nice, quite like that. The other problem with having this new desk is my arms are not long enough because it's so far over there to reach any of my drawers. I'm just going to have a quick look at what I've got. This is some of that gorgeous lace I got from Betsy and Cindy. Let me have a little look what else. Quite like it. Right. Actually, I don't want to use that one. It's got pretty little. Ah, I've got a little scrap, so that might be quite good to use that. I'm not sure if I'm going to put a grommet in this or not. Maybe I should have sewn. Maybe I should have sewn this in. No, I don't like that piece. It's too dark. Ah, I've got a piece here that matches the kind of tones on that. Yeah, I think I'm going to try my luck and see if I can force get this fabric through. Okay. I don't think I really made that big enough. But what I will do, just make sure that's quite tight. What I will do is add a little something on a ball pin, but I don't know that I can. I'm not sure what I'm going to do exactly, but I will add something to this. So let's just have a little look. Yeah, that's just about right, isn't it? And then if I put something on there, it can hang over. So that's the tag. Okay. Sorry about the mess. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a really thin little booklet for this pocket. So what I've done is I have printed two. These are from Andrea's kit. And on the back, you can probably just about make out, I've used my Flutterby pages, the back pages, just to give it something on the back. But I wanted it really light so it can be written on. And obviously this can be written on too. So I've got two of those pages. And they're gonna go together like that. This is gonna be a really small little booklet. And I printed the other two of Andrea's, and I've cut a piece of tea-dyed paper because if I don't want to make this a card cover or anything like that because it's just going to be too thick. So this is going to form a small booklet, or at least start off a booklet. Now I might have that really, really simple and straightforward, but I'm going to ink the edges. I mean, this is super, super easy. Really, really easy. And obviously the inside of the front and the back cover can also be used to write on, because I'm not going to do anything to... Oh, am I? Oh, am I? I might actually. Let me think. That's actually going to fit. This is one of Andrea's little pockets. Like so. Very, very simple. And again, this is only printed onto a matte photo paper, not heavyweight, just a standard. And I think it's going to just keep that fairly thin. Now I'm going to sew around this. Just trying to decide whether to. Okay, I'm actually going to sew this pocket, And I'm also going to sew the front and back covers, so I'm going to do that off camera, and I'll just give them a quick ink first. Okay, I just sewn a straight stitch around all of these just to give them a little bit of detail, but like I said, I'm really going to struggle with bulk. I've got exploding glue. That's the cover for our very basic little notebook, and this is when I'm going to find out these pages are too big, probably. Oh, no, they're fine. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run a stitch down the sewing machine. Okay. Just going to trim a little bit off there. Now, the only thing I wanted to do, which I didn't, and that was to add one of Andrea's little tabs. The only thing is, I've now put the pocket in, which wasn't an original plan. I think it's going to have to go in backwards. Just want to make sure that fits, because that wouldn't, yeah, that fits in there. So that's going to be the little booklet, which I think I'm going to find is not going to be able to go in the pocket, because otherwise it won't shut. So that's disaster number 2. But what might work is if I slot one piece in, and then that kind of overlaps there. Okay, so let's see if I can mess this up too. I know this will fit. I know this is going to fit. I have printed 2 of Andrea's pages onto newsprint. This stuff used to be really cheap, and now it's not. It's obviously what they print newspapers on, that type of paper. Whether or not it's slightly different now for art use, I'm not sure, but many moons ago when I used to teach art, it was as cheap as chips, and it used to come in big packs, and you can still buy it in big packs, but it's not something I would use. My printer has gone a bit funny again. I've got some ink there, but yeah, it's just nowhere near as cheap as it used to be. It's probably because so many of us are using this kind of paper now. Okay, so I'm going to put these into, these are going to be going into the envelope at the back. So just want to make sure they're going to fit. And again, the idea of this was to keep down the bulk. So I'm going to fold it there. And I'm going to fold it here. Okay. I'm just going to give those a good crease, those folds. And I'm going to get my teeny tiny scissors. And while these are kind of, these edges are closed, I'm just going to snip out some pieces to give it a bit of an aged look. I might take that corner off there, and you can do as much or as little as you like. I've done a video on this quite a while ago now, but I have done a video on that already, and I'm just going to obviously open up to do the edges. You could use a tear ruler. That would give you obviously a lot more aged edge pieces, but I'm going to just use my little scissors. Okay, like so. Now I'm going to use my brush and go round, excuse me, the edges first and the creases, both sides, like so. And then I'm going to go for the darker ink and do a little bit more of the kind of damaged pieces, if you like. And then I'm going to take my blending tool and I'm going to run it directly down the crease. I'm not going either side, I'm literally running it down that crease. So that's going to look fairly aged. I'm going to give it a little bit of a wrinkle, not too much. I'm going to put them both in there for now. I will come back and do exactly the same to the other piece. So that's going to go into those pockets. Now that's quite successful. That's not a problem. So we've got the pocket, the pieces of paper, the booklet that doesn't fit, and got this from Andrea's kit. I'm going to actually just quickly pull out that. I'm not, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to ink this. I'm not going to back this. I had planned to, but now I'm realising there is not as much room in this trifold as I thought. Now, I want this one in this front pocket, like so. And I'm also going to grab that little butterfly. This is the other Tim Holtz one that I had intended on using on the tag. And I'm going to put that in there too. And that's quite tight, so that's in that pocket. I've got my little labels in here, and I had intended on using that in this back pocket, like so. So I might have to find something else to go into that booklet. I'm not going to put anything in the envelope. I think that's probably all I can do. So that was the success. There's the success, the tag. That probably got things that would work. So yeah, that's our little ephemera to go into the journal. Sorry it was such a disaster. Sorry it didn't really work out. Hopefully the next video will be a little bit more, work better. Anyway, I'm going to go now before things get any worse. So I will see you soon. Bye.